Treaty with the Sioux Hunkpapa Band, October 20th, 1865, ratified March 5th, 1866. Articles of a treaty made and concluded at Fort Sully in the territory of Dakota by and between Newton Edmonds, Governor and ex officio Superintendent of Indian Affairs of Dakota Territory, Edward B. Taylor, Superintendent of Indian Affairs for the Northern Superintendency, Major General S.R. Curtis, Brigadier General H.H. Sibley, Henry W. Reed, and Orrin Guernsey, commissioners on the part of the United States, duly and appointed by the President, and the undersigned chiefs and headmen of the Hunkpapa Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians. Article 1. The Hunkpapa Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians, represented in council, hereby acknowledge themselves to be subject to the exclusive jurisdiction and authority of the U.S. and hereby obligate and bind themselves, individually and collectively, not only to cease all hostilities against the persons and property of its citizens, but to use their influence and, if requisite, physical force to prevent other bands of Dakota Indians or other adjacent tribes from making hostile demonstrations against the government or people of the U.S. Article 2. Inasmuch as the government of the U.S. is desirous to arrest the effusion of blood between the Indian tribes within its jurisdiction, hitherto at war with each other, the Hunkpapa Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians, represented in council, anxious to respect the wishes of the government, hereby agree to discontinue for the future all attacks upon the persons or property of other tribes unless first attacked by them, and to use their influence to promote peace everywhere in the region occupied or frequented by them. Article 3. All controversies or differences arising between the Hunkpapa Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians involving the question of peace or war shall be submitted for the arbitrament of the President or such person or persons as may be designated by him, and the decision or award shall be faithfully observed by the said band represented in council. Article 4. The said band represented in council shall withdraw from the routes overland already established or hereafter to be established through their country, and in consideration thereof the government of the U.S. agree to pay the said band the sum of $30 for each lodge or family annually for 20 years, in such articles as the Secretary of the Interior may direct, provided that said band so represented in council shall faithfully conform to the requirements of this treaty. Article 5. Should any individual or individuals or portion of the band of the Hunkpapa Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians represented in council desire hereafter to locate permanently upon any land claimed by said band for the purposes of agricultural or other similar pursuits, it is hereby agreed by the parties to this treaty that such individuals shall be protected in such locations against any annoyance or molestation on the part of whites or Indians. And whenever 20 lodges or families of the Hunkpapa Band shall have located on land for agricultural purposes and signified the same to their agents or superintendent, they as well as other families so locating shall receive the sum of $25 annually for 5 years for each family in agricultural implements and improvements, and when 100 lodges or families shall have so engaged in agricultural pursuits, they shall be entitled to a farmer and a blacksmith at the expense of the government, and also teachers at the option of the Secretary of Interior whenever deemed necessary. Article 6. Any amendment or modification of this treaty by the Senate of the U.S. shall be considered final and binding upon some manner as if it had been subsequently presented and agreed to by the chiefs and headmen of said band. In testimony whereof the commissioners on part of the U.S. and the chiefs and headmen of said Yanktonai Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians have hereunto set their hands in this 20th day of October, 1865, after the contents had previously been read, interpreted, and explained to the chiefs and headmen. Newton Edmonds, Edward Taylor, S.R. Curtis, Major General H.H. Sibley, Brigadier General Henry Reed, Orrin Guernsey. Chiefs: Madoka or the Buck, his X-mark. Matowakakau, he that runs the bear, his X-mark. Sean Kawiteko, the full dog, his X-mark. Chief soldiers: Tachunk P. Sapa, the black tomahawk, his X-mark. Wadota Wakan, the red thunder, his X-mark. Tonka Hata, the rock with a horn, his X-mark. Chiefs: Two Bears, Mato Nanpa, his X-mark. White Bear, Mato Si, his X-mark. Bone Necklace, Haho Nanpi, his X-mark. Soldier Dog Cloud, his X-mark. In presence of Hernandez L. Hosmer, Chief Justice of Montana Territory. S.S. Curtis, Brevet Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Volunteers. A.W. Hubbard, MC 6th District, Iowa. E.F. Ruth, Secretary of Commission. R.R. Hitt, Reporter of Commission. Zephyr Recontre, his X-mark. Interpreter Charles Degress, his X-mark. Interpreter. The man that runs in his tracks. Oye Kippa, his X-mark. The man surrounded. Na Jet Pete, the medicine white man. Wasichet Wakan, his X-mark. The man that stirs. Skin Itch Ia, his X-mark. Fast Walker. Mane Lusa, his X mark. Red Bull, Topton, his X mark. The foregoing signatures in this handwriting, that of General Curtis, were made in presence of the undersigned on 28th and 29th October 1865 at Fort Sully. Major A.P. Shreve, Paymaster U.S. Army. John Petit, Lieutenant Colonel, 7th Iowa Cavalry.